Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, watch nerds of all ages, this is Mark Goldberg from Mark Vlogs Watches with another not so exciting, mediocre episode for you, but I would love to thank you for joining me, invite you to smash, lick, or press the like button and subscribe to this channel so we can do it again. Before we move into the meat and potatoes, yes, I said it, of this video, let's go ahead and get the quick fist watch check out of the way. You might be a little surprised. Here we go. Guys, today I am wearing a Breitling Chronomat in 42 millimeters of stainless steel with the famous roulet or bullet bracelet, which was resurrected recently by Breitling. This one has the blue sunray dial, and it's quite nice. And in fact, display back. But guys, this is not the topic of this video, although I am going to make a comparison video between the watch of the day and this one here. But we are here to talk about the famous, the infamous, the iconic, the incredible, the watch that every collector loves, except for me, the Speedmaster, the Speedy. And let me reach it and grab it. And I would like to thank Bruce Williams from Bruce Williams Productions for lending me his lovely sapphire sandwich Speedmaster. Yes, it's sort of a version of the Moon watch. Beautifully. This is, I think, maybe my favorite feature of this watch, which is that beautiful decorated display back case. So look, guys, I recognize that this is actually an important watch. This is a fun watch. This is something that I actually really like. But I would say historically, it's like a 4. It has history, don't get me wrong. This one here, its history is storied, it's epic, it's legendary. On the historical level, we're looking at a 10 out of 10. This one goes to 11. But still, not my favorite watch. Let's turn the camera around, take a closer look at its benefits and its minuses, and I'll talk you through my personal opinions, and we'll come back here and wrap it up. Guys, here we are taking a look at the legendary Omega Speedmaster Moon watch. This one, well, and there's a lot of versions of this, which quite frankly, I find a bit confusing. Now, I know the Omega heads, they kind of know every version. I don't even know how you could know the reference numbers. They all have nicknames. I will drop the reference number of this one in right here. But holy cow, it's a long series of digits and dots, etc. So it's kind of like deet, 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 Morse code trying to figure this stuff out by reference number, which I find confusing. Display back, and we will talk more about this in a moment. But this is an incredibly popular watch, but it is one that I have resisted purchasing for myself for a very long time. As I mentioned, this one is on loan from the very generous and exceptionally patient Bruce Williams. Bruce, I know you're itching to get this watch back, so forgive me for keeping it so long. I will return it. Okay, a couple things to know. The first thing is it's a manual wind, and it's not a screw down crown. So as I'm winding it here, I can feel the resistance. I can feel those little tiny clicks. That's the second hand, the running seconds for the watch. The other two subdials measure minutes up to the half an hour increment, and then this is the hours. You go up to 12 hours. So once you hit the 30 here, it'll do a half a click over there to show you that it's done a half an hour. And as you can see, the running seconds hand is going. Now, virtually all chronometers, why do I always do that? Chronographs. I don't believe this is a chronometer, meaning dialed into extreme accuracy specs. I don't think so, but if I'm wrong about that, I'll let you know with a graphic here. But okay, let's start with the good. First of all, there's absolutely no denying that this is a very attractive and very legible watch with literally an incredible backstory. This watch not only went to the moon, but during an engine failure, it was used to precisely time an engine flare so that mission could get back to Earth. So the story couldn't be better. I mean, from that standpoint, it's just amazing. And the design of it has changed a little bit over the years since the late 1960s, but not a lot. I mean, if you were to hold this one up to an older one, you would still recognize it. You sure would. Now, me personally, I am not a big fan of the tachymeter bezels. You know, they don't turn. They're there to indicate speed in conjunction with the chronograph hand there, which we're going to test out in just a moment. I gotta say, for a watch that has like not very much water resistance, you could hardly call it a sports watch. It's more like a real tool watch. However, it does have enough lume that you can read it, that's for sure. At the end of this, I'll throw a lume shot in. The bracelet is a pretty standard Omega bracelet. Even the bracelets that Omega is making right now look a lot like this. Although, frankly, I think this one is a little bit better. Their new stuff, see how these links are kind of oval? Well, their new ones are a little more squared off. And I don't know if you can make it out, but there appears to be just a tiny soft edge or tiny buffed. It's not quite beveled, but what I'm talking about is at the very edge of the link. It's softened there, okay? And what that means is it's super comfortable. It's not scratchy, there's no hot spots. I wish the same could be said of the more modern day versions of the bracelet. And I really actually like this little high polished bead running down the middle. I mean, this makes it a 5-link bracelet, if you will, but it kind of looks like a 3-link bracelet with a little polished bead down the middle. Very nice brushing, very nice contrast with high polish, which of course gives it the look of a tool watch, but just the littlest bit of flash, which I think is nice. Then you have these twisted polished lugs. And I really do also like the way the pushes are integrated. Now, I gotta say, this is sort of like the watch that you're supposed to love, and somehow or another I don't. I think maybe it's because I'm just not I'm just basically not a chronograph guy. I do want a Daytona, and I do like, actually I very much like the that Breitling that I was showing you. But I think the reason I like the Breitling is it's, more like a dive watch with a dive bezel. Now the clasp here, it's good. It's Omega's older double deployant clasp. It's very nicely incised and marked, so I like it. But you really don't get any micro adjustments. I think, you get like what, 1, 2? Useless. Useless. No dive extension. And of course the new Omega clasp with the push where you can go in and out. Boy, it would be so nice on literally any Omega with this clasp. So I'm not a big believer in the clasp. And then it says, the first watch on the moon, which is very cool. First watch worn on the moon. The movement is beautiful. You can kind of see it going along there. Let me set it down so my hands aren't wiggling, and then we'll just bring it in here. That's better. Kind of get a better look at it, and quite frankly, it's beautiful. It's industrial art. But why don't I like it? Well, guys, this is all entirely subjective. First of all, I really don't want to own a watch. As you can see here, we're on the table with a placemat. Thought it was kind of a cool background though. I really don't want to own a watch that doesn't have high water resistance, because I always imagine myself taking a watch on vacation. I want to be able to wear it in the shower and at the beach, etc. And this is, it's a manual wind watch, so you can't forget to wind it or it will just stop. And it's not even push down. So honestly, not my cup of tea. But from the standpoint of a watch with history, I completely understand why people love this watch. Okay, let's take a look at its action. Let's put that down and bring it in. Straighten her out a little bit, guys. There we go. Now, this is so precise. I mean, while this is ticking along, we can talk about it. And what we're going to be looking for is the, you know, the click over there on that subdial at the 1 minute point, okay? But while we're looking at that, what I have to say is what Omega excels at here is precision timing. This watch is very easy to read. Now, the chronograph is extremely accurate. In fact, I'm sure that's far more accurate than the watch itself, which is something that bugs me a little bit. But I think the thing that bothers me more than anything else is the water resistance. You know, I have a Flightmaster made by Omega. Bink. And it just kind of worked its way over there. Not a sharp click, but right on time. I have a Flightmaster made by Omega, and you know, it's a very old watch. Mine was made, I think, in 1970, 71. So I don't trust its seals. However, it was rated to 80 meters when it first came out. So that gives me, you know, confidence that that watch, you know, that was a pilot's watch with a chronograph, that you could swim with it. This one was never intended for that purpose. And like I said, tachymeter bezels, they just kind of bother me. But guys, the layout of this watch, for a watch with delicate hands, you have no problem reading this whatsoever. We're going to watch that click over 1 more minute on that upper right-hand subdial. Let's get in there and let's pay some attention to whether it just snaps over or whether it's a clunk clunk. Here she comes, and it's going to be right on time. Boom. Okay, actually, it looked to me like it went a second early. All right, guys, this. Oops, I don't think we can really complain too much about this watch, given its storied history. And why do I keep saying storied? But it is, you know, it's got the backstory, guys. And there is no watch ever going to be the first watch worn on the moon except for this one. So, you know, there's really nothing to complain about. All right, let's piece out of this one. I'm going to turn the camera around and give you my final thoughts. Here's a better wrist shot, if you will, of the Sapphire Sandwich Speedmaster on wrist. You know, I can't complain about this watch in terms of value, historical, fit into the really world history. I mean, it was an American event, that moon landing, but it made world history, and I can't complain anything about it. And even the way it looks is disturbingly easy to read, and legibility with these tired old eyes is a great big factor. But the X factor, you know, that certain something, that certain insouciance, the thing that makes you just quiver and pitter and patter and go, ooh, 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 I like that. I honestly, I don't feel it for this watch, and I couldn't entirely tell you why. And I do feel it for this one. Now, this is, this Breitling, let's take a closer look. In fact, let's hold them up side by side. The Breitling, it's a cruder watch. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. It's slightly bigger, it's shinier, it's not nearly as legible, has kind of a funky love it or leave it bracelet. But for me, I gotta tell you, I'm probably more of a lover of Breitling than I am of Omega. It rides bigger on the wrist, you can hear it. It's got a nice twisty, turny dive bezel. Loomed pip. It's display back, decorated, but and you know, technically the B01 movement is quite a good movement, and I'm certain that it's more accurate than that Omega. But this Breitling is never going to have the cachet. It's never going to have the place in the collection of every single watch nerd on earth, except for me. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it there. If you think I bagged on the Omega, I'm sorry if you like it, but it's not my cup of tea. But that being said, deep respect for what it is. I completely understand the attraction. I just don't feel it. You know, what can you do? Why don't you tell me in the comments what you think of the Speedy? If you got a Chronomat and you want to say something nice about it, great. Most of you probably don't like it, but hey, what can I say? I have my own taste. It's not always going to be the same as yours. Thank you so much for joining me here, guys. And remember, before I peace out, paint the sky your favorite color. Peace out.
Paint the sky